Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about Legacies, episode 211, titled What Cupid Problem, which premiered Thursday, January 30th, 2020 on the CW. I'm recording on February 1st, so huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. My other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. Huge YouTube shout out once again to Maria Lira. Thank you so much for the continued participation you have on my videos. Truly appreciate it. And I got a little bit of insight about the whole desiccation versus prison world thing, which I will answer shortly once this video is posted. So be on the lookout for that. But otherwise, I'm going to try to do this in 25 minutes. So let's start the clock and let's begin with what happened in this episode. So in regards to the episode quote itself, what Cupid problem? It was said by Cupid himself, or actually it was Pothos, and he said it to Hope and Landon when they called him the Cupid problem. Timeline-wise, I thought it was a while between 210 and 211, but it's actually only a day. So it's the following day after the events of 210, because specifically in the episode, Landon mentions that Wade only just yesterday got confirmation that he was a fairy, which is what happened in 210. So that's my timeline marker there. And also, as you remember, at the end of 210, we find out that the Saltzman family got sucked into the prison world. But anyways, I'll get to that in a moment. But episode reminder is the fact that it's Cupid. Well, the fact that it's named Cupid. Once again, it's not actually February in the timeline, but for us viewing it, it's close to being the Valentine's Day holiday, the unofficial holiday that is. So there's that. Feature creature, though, it ends up not being Cupid, but Cupid's older brother, Pothos, who happens to eat the victims of his arrows. And apparently there are 7, I believe, different versions of Cupid, each one with their own different kind of love and weakness according to the arrow that they have. So like puppy love, epic love, obsession, self-love, blind love. Was that all of them? I don't know. I'll do some research. Otherwise, there might be a little bit of a tally up on screen. But anyways, there's that. Also, I'll say this now that I really like that it ended up not being Cupid and ended up being Pothos. I really preferred that twist in regards to the whole creature of the episode, because the promo kind of gives away the fact that this creature, this Cupid, is meant to feed on its victims with like the whole like mouth or jaws representing like the werewolves from Supernatural, or like more canine-ish in the Legacies universe. So while they spoiled that in the promo itself that he was going to go all carnivore, I did like the twist that it wasn't actually Cupid we were dealing with, but it was Pothos. So I did appreciate that twist there. Otherwise, I would have been a lot more disappointed to find out that, oh, it's Cupid, he eats people, you killed Cupid. It wouldn't have provided much. So I'm glad that they added a little extra to kind of put the twist there. But moving on to episode breakdown, or the storylines, it is 2 specific ones. First one being what Cupid problem, and the second being the obsessive Alyssa for the Ascendant. So with the first storyline, we do get Pothos again being mistaken as Cupid as he shoots his arrows around town. He made a deal with the necromancers, as he was the next creature that came through the Malivore pit, and in exchange for distracting the Salvatore students, the Pothos wanted the golden arrow. And I will bring that up in do I bring it up later? Actually, I'll bring it up now, but it will be talked about later in tidbits. But the golden arrow actually was in the possession of the Salvatore school that the necromancer happened to get his hands on, thanks to Chad recognizing what it was. Now, with the second storyline with an obsessive Alyssa, we do get Hope using one of the obsession arrows on Alyssa to get her cold heart to melt a little bit more. And so Alyssa shares who her secret crush is. Hope uses that crush against Alyssa to kind of help like open her up a little bit, and the crush ended up being MG. Not really surprised, since the previous episode you kind of see, or was it the previous episode? 2 episodes ago when we first are met with Alyssa, and her interaction with MG kind of showed that maybe there's something there. But anyways, MG goes on a fake date with Alyssa, which was actually his planned first date for Kim, which ended up backfiring when he found out all the things that Caleb had told him were actually things that Kim didn't like. Naturally so. Alyssa ends up breaking the Ascendant when MJ rejects her and tells her about Kim, which leads to an obsessed Alyssa attacking Kim. Also, there's that. At the very end of it, Alyssa admits to Caleb that she doesn't actually know how to get the Saltzman family back from the prison world, despite this huge persona from her that, like, she's not going to tell you, like, as if she was holding something back in regards to, like, how to do it. I mean, yeah, she was holding back the location of the Ascendant, but there is that. last scene of the episode was after sharing why she loves him, Landon kisses Hope, which leads to him levitating them together. And this whole episode, he was trying to find out if he can fly and how he can fly, which leads to my characters. So Landon, first off, he tries to find his usefulness in the group. And one of them is trying to find other powers than him just dying and coming back to life. So by the end of the episode, he finds that he can fly, or aka levitate. He doesn't actually have wings like Wade or Pothos had. And then also we find out that Landon dying, he actually can get resurrected from his heart being ripped out of his chest. As we know, vampires cannot survive that, so that's something there. Do hybrids survive that? We know that Klaus has survived that and Elijah has survived that, but I don't know if that's original. I think that's just a specific original thing, like the original vampire thing. But that's something we do find out as a confirmation there. Then with Alyssa Chang, we find out that she ended up being very calm for the fact that she was in a prison cell and she was even doing yoga in there. And then it's very possible that she's going to have a crush on Caleb next, just on her last scene in the episode when she was looking him up and down when he told her, like, get a new crush, MJ's not going to go for you, type of thing. And then speaking of Caleb, we do find out that he likes running at human speed during his fitness time. He's called his fitness time his me time, as it were, and rightfully so. And it makes sense too, because how else is a vampire supposed to keep in shape? Actually, how would they keep in shape? Would that even make a difference? Is it still considered exercise if he still runs at human pace, even though now that he has vampire speed? Huh, that's something there. And then his sister Kim, at the end of all of it, decides to leave school after Alyssa tried to kill her. So unfortunately, that's that. And she ends up kissing MG before and after her goodbye to him. So there's that. With Wade, we find out that he's head of school security. And when he pukes up fairy dust, which is something. So yeah, I'm glad that he was in this episode after his self-discovery in the previous one. So there's that. And then we do meet a new witch named Drusilla. I'm pretty sure we've seen her a few times, so we actually get a name for her. And she's the goth witch who ended up wanting to keep Pothos' wings, which a little odd, but yeah. So there's that. But moving on to tidbits. So as I mentioned before about the prison world, Alaric, Josie, Lizzie are not seen in the episode because of the fact that they're trapped in the prison world. They're saving that for the next episode due to Kai's return. Also, I'm pretty sure this marks the first episode that Alaric is absent from Legacies. So that's something there. And also Raphael isn't present because he's supposedly still in the woods with his birth father. So there's that. Another tidbit is the fact that that Emma and Dorian were victims of the arrows, which found themselves being married. Whether or not it's legit or not is now in question. I'm wondering what kind of arrow they were shot with. I'm pretty sure it was a white arrow, like the feathers on the arrow were white. So it'll be interesting to see which kind of love that was. Another tidbit was the fact that Hope had used, either she knew or she created one herself, a magical version of like the communications device or the earwigs that special agents use, and she was using it with MG when he was on his fake date with Alyssa. So there's that. A funny tidbit is the fact that Landon made a comment about their absentee faculty or authority figure. So that was pretty funny there. And then also I want to bring back the Sphinx's riddle. It's up on screen as well, just because of the fact that we do see an actual golden arrow in this episode. And it was stolen from the school's armory by the necromancer. And it was Chad who pointed out that in the whole box that was stolen, that was the golden arrow that Pothos wanted. Apparently, we don't know what it means, but Necromancer seems to be very pleased by this discovery. So there's that. There's also a theory going around that the golden arrow might be a possible weakness for Landon as a phoenix. I'll put... I first saw the comment from Alyssa Steph J. The spelling of it will be on screen when I was watching Abnormally Adam's video. And so it'll be very interesting to know if the golden arrow is a weakness to the phoenix, because in regards to the prophecy, it says that new hero rises but can be felled by the golden arrow. I mean, new hero, it would have to be either Landon. Now that it's new hero, I'm thinking maybe Wade, because he just found out that he's a fairy. Or it could be just a new hero that we've deemed a hero. I don't know, but that is something to consider, because the necromancer seemed very, very pleased that he has it now, which is a little disturbing. But there's that. And I saved the last tidbit for my most shocking moment of the episode, and that was Jed professing his love to Miss Emma Tig while crashing her impromptu elopement with Dorian. That was completely out of the blue. I mean, he did make reference to the fact that he needed to go find his destiny, and he referenced to a girl. I just did not ever expect that it would be Emma. So I'm wondering if that's what came of that, because now it's like, what? I don't know. Which also, I'll say the random question right now in regards to that, but it's like, did he get hit with an arrow and then it was with Emma? Did he always have a crush on her or something? It's like, what was going on there? I mean, we don't get much of Jed anyways, so maybe that's why it was a surprise. But first off, I did like that he was part of the super squad meeting. So that's one thing there. But the fact that was a shock when he crashed the wedding, for sure. So that was something there. But let's move on to top 3 favorite moments. Absolute favorite part of the episode was just Hope and Landon. First, with Landon's confession after he stabbed himself with the epic love arrow. I mean, it wasn't... The thing about it that I really liked, though, is the fact that it wasn't anything different that he'd share. He has always shared how much he loves Hope, how much he wants to be with her. It's just that maybe he's been a little bit more reserved ever since the whole Josie thing happened. But then to have this epic love arrow kind of get rid of those, that hesitation of him saying those words. It's kind of like when we had Simulation Landon again, but it was actually like real Landon doing it now. So I do appreciate that, and just the extent, because like, you know that he can't lie with the epic love arrow type thing. And he even says like, I don't feel any different. I mean, I still love, and I always will love Hope. And just the way he said it, I even wrote down the quote, so it might be up on screen right now for you. So I love that. Also, another thing too, I don't know if anyone else noticed though, but when Landon got his heart ripped out, which was very sad, did anyone notice that Hope's eyes actually changed color? And what I gotta say is that they look a lot more vampire-esque than they do werewolf, because as we know, Hope's eyes do change whenever she's a wolf. They do have the yellow ring, just like like when Klaus usually has his eyes changing color. But in this moment, they look more like the regular vampire change, like before Klaus had triggered his vampire, his curse. Before he unlocked his curse, I mean, before the whole sun and moon thing happened, when he just had the regular vampire face. Hope's eyes looked like completely, all the white was filled with black. She had like reds all around her eyes. Like, it seemed very different in regards to like the supernatural eyes that we've seen. I'm wondering if anyone else noticed that, because I had to go back a few times after the episode aired to like see like if it was just me seeing things. But like, I thought that was pretty cool, because then it also shows to the extent how much emotion was coursing through her when she saw Landon die once again in front of her. I mean, because sometimes that's something that you can't, like, eyes changing color, that's something you can't control in supernatural in stories. It's usually something that's always instinctual that happens, or it's someone overcome with so much emotion or something. So it's like, but usually it's in a blind rage people get that change, or when they power up or something. But I thought that was pretty cool that her eyes changed. I'm wondering what it means exactly, if she even realized that she had done it or something. Maybe it ties in more to the whole vampire part of her that hasn't been brought up yet, because maybe I have to go back and see when we were dealing with the whole wish world thing that Lizzie did and we saw a vampire Hope, if maybe it was similar to something like that. I have to go back to check for that. But also another thing I like was just the whole levitating kiss that Hope and Landon shared during her showing him the journal entry she made after she returned from Malivore. And then also their scene just in the bathtub when they ended up kissing. You have like a pseudo rain kiss type of thing when it was a shower instead. And they were just having fun in the situation, being relieved that he got resurrected again. It's just, they're so cute, and I just love that they were like, despite like all the little problems they were having and like the tensions, like her telling him stop risking your life, and he's trying to prove himself and stuff, and then just to have them be overflown with the fact that like, I love you, like this is why I can't believe you can't see why I would love you type of thing. It was just, they're just so cute together. I love them. It's just like, it also got me very emotional. I think if I remember correctly, I think I got teary-eyed a little bit. Not enough to full-on cry like I did with the Arrow series finale, but like it was up there. Like it was getting there. So there's that. Another since that was a massive one, I only got a second favorite, and that was the whole super squads, like the whole super squad thing. First off, their reaction to Pothos feeding in the bar is just, first off, Caleb instantly covering Pedro's eyes, and also his comment of like, oh damn, Wade puking up dust, and then like Wade is like, oh, like shocked, is like, I was not expecting that. That was hilarious in itself. Also, the super squad's arrival to that bar, where it's like Caleb driving his new car that he got from Santa, and then Pedro just coming out of the shotgun seat, and then they're both just waiting, and then you get Wade, Landon, and Drusilla just coming in on their motorized scooters and stuff, and just arguing over the fact that Pedro called shotgun times infinity, and they was like, that's not cool, and they were just like being typical teenagers. And then it's when they walk into the bar, and then they see Pothos feeding on people, and then they get like, whole damn, and then like the actual instinctual reactions you get as teenagers when you're walking in on like this gruesome fact that you want to puke, you want to cover somebody's eyes, you want to be like, you're like shocked to do anything. So it's just like, it was hilarious just to see them. Granted, it's not the full super squad that I wanted. Like MG wasn't in that moment, the twins weren't there as well, Hope wasn't there, but it's just funny to get this version of the super squad. And like Caleb's commentary was just like amazing. So there is that. Let's move on to top 3 peeved moments though. The first peeved being that Landon failed to shoot an arrow at Pothos. I mean, like, what I don't get is, I get why Landon had to do it because he wanted to try to be useful and stuff, but then I don't get if Caleb was there as well when Landon was failing, why didn't Caleb just grab an arrow, use his vampire speed to speed over to Pothos and just stab him with one? Or, since Caleb is a football player, why doesn't he just throw the arrow with his vampire speed as well if he couldn't use his own feet to travel there with vamp speed? Like, why couldn't Caleb, like, use that part of his ability as a vampire to kind of step in and be helpful? Like, you know what I mean? That's a peeve right there, because I just didn't understand. Well, if Landon's failing to do the job, then why you have another person who's capable of, like, doing it, since Wade was kind of blind because of the blinding arrow. Pedro's a little small, you can't really expect much from him, and a very shocked, and you want to keep him safe, so I understand that. And Drusilla kind of tuck-tailed and ran, so I'm just wondering why they didn't utilize Caleb a little more in that sense. So there's that. Also, another peeve that I did have was the fact that Hope goes off to chop off the wings of Pothos, and like showing like she's willing to do anything and everything to get answers, but yet she is just asking Alyssa nicely for answers, when it's like, hello, if you already tried to truth spell and it didn't work, use other magics to get her to speak. I mean, do some like mind manipulation stuff on her. Do torture her. I mean, yeah, you shouldn't torture people, but I'm not in reality in this moment. I'm talking about a supernatural world here, where her own father and family are known to be torturers for answers. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do without getting your hands dirty to get your answer. And if Hope is really determined, like, I mean, she threw Alyssa up against the wall at the end of 210. I mean, yeah, throw her in a cell and then do other things to her, deprive her of food, deprive her of water, really, like, make her more compliant or stuff. You definitely can't compel her because she's a witch, and witches can't be compelled, regardless if they're on Vervain or not. But it's like, do other magical means to get her to talk. It's not just a truth serum that you need or a truth spell that you need. There are other ways to get her to speak. You've also manipulate her and do some mind tricks to get her to confess without actually meaning to, or just go into her head and get memories of what she did with the Ascendant. Or when she was looking in Alyssa's room, why didn't she use magic to detect other magics in the room? Because I'm pretty sure if she's hiding an Ascendant, it's going to be hidden not only out of sight, but like by magical means. And if there's a spell to detect when other magic is being used in the vicinities, why not do that? Like, why go through all the trouble to try to trick her and kind of like, you know what I mean? So that's something there. And another thing that pissed me off as well too is during the fight scene with Alyssa and Kim, yes, I want Kim to survive, but then also at the same time, if Alyssa truly wanted to kill Kim, she made the vampire slower, which thankfully she did. Otherwise, it's like, how could you stop a witch against a vampire? But then also at the same time, it's a witch against a human. Why did Alyssa have to grab an axe to kill a human when a simple spell would have done the trick? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, you want the tussle to give Kim a chance, but at the same time, it's like, there's no reason why she wouldn't have used a spell, unless like she had no access to her magic and then she was forced to use an axe to kill Kim, then okay, that makes sense. But she just performed magic to slow the vampires down, so why couldn't she use magic to kill Kim? You know what I mean? And the same thing is when she tried to kill MG, she could have just flung her hand or used a spell to throw a stake at his heart if she truly wanted him dead. It seems like it just frustrates me when with all these supernatural beings and with all these resources at their hands as these supernatural beings, it frustrates me when they don't utilize those abilities, or they do other means when they could have used those supernatural abilities and don't explain why that wasn't an option to begin with. I hope that makes sense. But that was a peeve that I particularly had with this episode, but then I'm finding that in general, like, that seems to be coming up a lot in these shows. So, yeah, that was something there. But let's move on to random questions very quickly. First off, where were all the other students at the school? I mean, was the school just, like, classes just put on hold because of Alaric's disappearance? I mean, because it is a boarding school, it's not like they go home and then they come back to school on the weekday. All the students live at the school. So it's like, where the hell were they when all this was happening? It just seemed like it was emptied out. The only time it was, like, maybe, like, decent that there was other students there was, like, in the library right when they were trying to get Kim out of the place. But it's just more of like, where are all the rest of you? Why aren't you in the other parts of the school that were featured, right? So that was something there. Also, I forgot to mention in tidbits, that's another question here. I'll just add now, I'll just reword it, is the fact that was that pool always there and part of the boarding house, or was that pool just an addition after the school had got established? Because that's one cool pool that they have, like, very, like, big and, like, spacious, and there's cool landscaping around it. So I'm just wondering, was that always, like, a Salvatore boarding school thing and we just never saw it on Vampire Diaries, or was that something that Alaric and Caroline added in after the school got established? Because that's something there. And another question was, everything Caleb had told MG in regards to how his date should be for Kim ended up being things that Kim hated, but it ended up being what made Alyssa's date perfect. So I'm wondering if that is meant to mean something more between Caleb and Alyssa, or it just was a coincidence that everything that Kim did not like ended up being things that Alyssa liked. Because that's too much of a coincidence. So, yeah. Either Alyssa was lying, saying, like, it was a perfect first date, regardless of, like, every little aspect of the strawberries, the froyo, or the froze or whatever, and then the pool party thing. If all those things were, like, Kim gave reasons why those things she weren't her first options, but Alyssa said it was perfect. I'm wondering, is that supposed to mean that Caleb paid more attention to Alyssa, or was it just a coincidence? Let me know. Because I'm sensing possibly a Caleb-Alyssa thing forming. I don't want it to happen. I don't need that crazy, vengeful Alyssa anywhere near Caleb. Caleb needs to be safe. So there's that. Another question, what is the Necromancer's end game? Is it to gain more power? Is it for the hell of it? Is it to gain more power to go against Malivore? What is it? Is it, like, why is he there? So that's a question there. And I did mention about Emma and Jed as well. So that's about it. So let's move on to predictions very quickly. Based off the promo of 2/12, we do get Alaric telling the twins that they need to leave immediately. We see Kai Parker returning and giving Josie an ultimatum to save Alaric. She needs to become a monster, and it looks like we might get Dark Josie making an appearance. So that's something there. But based off the synopsis, though, for the episode, it reads that when a series of events leads Josie, Lizzie, and Alaric to the prison world, they come face to face with the twins' evil Uncle Kai. I'm both so excited to see his return, yet so terrified by his return, because again, he is a heretic, and that is /vampire/witch, and he is a sociopath. So he pretty much killed a lot of his family members, and he killed his own twin. And he pretty much decimated all of the Gemini Coven. So, all to get at the twins. So it's like, what is he going to do now that he knows that they're, like, old enough and powerful too? So it's like, I'm both excited to see him, yet I'm also terrified as well. So, yeah. But that is pretty much it, guys. What do you guys think of the episode? What do you guys like about it? What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, opinions about all that good stuff. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I reblog promos, web clips, quotes, GIFs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. Go check that out. Also, WordPress account link for that is down below. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress, a little more organized, a little more detailed, but still a work in progress. Both of them need to be updated, but I am currently in between week 4 and 5 of term 2 for my school. So things are really picking up in project-wise. So I'm hoping during project week I can do some updating of the current seasons. Fingers crossed, but check those out if in the time being. But otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. It's still returning at its regular time, Thursdays at 9. It's just Supernatural is no longer in the 8 o'clock spot. They're going to be premiering Katie Keene before that, but I'm still watching Legacies, so it's still normal scheduling. So until next time, guys, this is Mel. Wish you a great day, great week, wherever you are. And there's the timer. Yes, I beat it. Bye, guys.